because everybody else was eating them.
Welcome back, everyone. We're about to go live over to Sweden, where we have three poets who are going to read you, Colm Kiernan, Magnus Gwên, and Philip Rostrom. And I'll let Colm run the show from Sweden. I'm going to take that big white sign off the middle of the screen so you can actually see his beautiful face. And I'll hand over to Colm in Sweden now.
Hej och välkommen till Kultivera I Tranås. Hi and welcome to Kultivera in Tranås. We're really delighted to be part of the festival. And myself, Colm Kiernan, Magnus Gwên and Philip Bostrom are going to be reading some poems. We're going to break it up so it won't be blocks, it'll be switching between us. And the first person up reading in Swedish will be Philip Bostrom.
Thank you, Colm. And this is a poem that I wrote a few years back. It's sort of an experiment. I tend to write very short poems, and I wanted to write a long one, see if I could do it. So this is the longest poem I've ever written, and it's called Skomakarens son, or The Cordwainer's Son. And you'll hear the English version in a bit, but I have to make do with incomprehensible gibberish to begin with. So this is the original Swedish version. Skomakarens son. En naiv liten tult är skomakarens son. Han är pojken som ska vandra till månen. Med sina första par skor står han stadigt och rakt, men hans ben verkar svåra att styra. Bara 4 år är nu skomakarens son och letar efter något att leda hans steg. Hans 4:e par skor och de irrar omkring som barnskor ska göra, helt planlöst. På jakt efter vägen, på jakt efter något. Att trampa, att sparka en riktning. Hans 8:e par, de är tunna och rena, finskor för vägar och stigar. Som trampats av skor som man aldrig fick se och av fötter som slutat att gå. Han byter dem ofta mot par nummer 9, 2 lertäckta kängor för skogen. Och irrar ändå fast vägen är där för att fötter är svåra att stilla. Och par nummer 18 är kängor de med, men kängor för långväga resor. Lerfria, dammiga och ganska så slitna, de går med beslutsamma steg. På bredlagda gator och vägar av sten med korta små pauser i gräset. Men pauser förlängs när vägar blir gråa och par 26 är sandaler. Bekväma och vackra med spännen i mässing som glittrar i solen och lampsken. Sandaler och finskor byts ut eftersom, men kängor blir färre och färre. Fötterna kliar och trivs inte alls, men vägarna liknar varandra. Var är dina kängor, du skomakarson, i väskan och väntar på vandring? Vart går dina fötter, du månvandringsman, i cirklar om dagen som natten? Rastlösa sulor av skam och av skuld på löpskorna, 38. De söker nu åter en framkomlig väg och springer på aviga stigar, med tårna mot platser han inte sett förr, förhoppning om trappor och stegar. För senare löpskor, de kan redan det som kängorna sällan fick veta, att vägar är platta eller vänder sig ner just som de börjat att stiga. Och skor 43, de är löpskor alltjämt, men fulla av svett och förtvivlan. Och blåsor som svider, som släppt ut sin saft i ett tyg som var menat att andas. När natten har kommit tar skomakarens son och frigör sin fot, en löpsko i hand. Han kastar en blick och fäller en tår över månen som stiger och faller. Han badar 2 fötter i vattnet i ån, helt nakna och ömma till benen. Och väntar på kraften och orken att gå någonstans där han inte kan se den. Han, skomakarens son, han tar pappas gebit och skor sig själv par 48. Han hjälper nu andra att gå dit de vill, de vars resor är relativt korta. I stålhättekängor för vardagens slit, han sular och syr ifrån ortan, men drömmer om lera och stigarna dit på natten när skorna är borta. En dag finner sonen hans par nummer 1, som hans pappa har sparat som minne. Över fötter som irrat och letat och sett varje sten, varje kotte och pinne. Som finns bakom huset på skomakarens plätt med jakt efter månljus i sinne. Och skomakarsonen han tar till ett bål både 1, 32 och 28. Med spännen av mässing och sulor med hål och barnskor han slitit med måtta. Som vandrat och klafsat men aldrig något mål. Tills de solbränts till matt terrakotta. Ett torn utav skor, en sulmonolit, ett monument av hans vandrande fötter. På jordklotets rund han vilar en stund, där han håller sin fackla i vinden. Vid toppen så ser han en pärla av ljus, en månkrona glimmar som mässing. Skomakarsonen, en trött gammal man, han tar av sina skor nummer 60. Vid sina sista par skor står han stadigt och rakt, och där, barfota, börjar han klättra. Thank you.
Hello there. Read first in Swedish and then in English. Gubbar med vagn. Gubbar med vagn veckohandlar. Gubbar med vagn har kepsen på. Gubbar med vagn ser lätt förvirrade ut. Gubbar med vagn undrar över middagen. Gubbar med vagn ser sorgsna ut. Gubbar med vagn, vad tänker de på? Gubbar med vagn kör hårt och bestämt likt en bil på E4. Gubbar med vagn vill ha öl och chips. Gubbar med vagn tänker på döden. Gubbar med vagn hängande blasé på vagnen. Gubbar med vagn erövrar affären. Gubbar med vagn har trötta ben. Gubbar med vagn undrar vart livet tog vägen. Gubbar med vagn har kvinnor som cirkulerar som satelliter runt den. Owl fellows with a trolley. Owl fellows with a trolley, weekly shopping. Owl fellows with a trolley wearing flat caps. Owl fellows with a trolley looking slightly disorientated. Owl fellows with a trolley wondering about dinner. Owl fellows with a trolley looking sorrowful. Owl fellows with a trolley, what do they thinking about? Owl fellows with a trolley driving hard and decidedly like a car on the M4. Owl fellows with a trolley want beer and crisps. Owl fellows with a trolley thinking about death. Owl fellows with a trolley conquering the supermarket. Owl fellows with a trolley are tired in the legs. Owl fellows with a trolley wondering where life has gone. Owl fellows with a trolley have women that circulate around them like satellites. And going with a Wales theme for about Sandfärgan. På väg till Sandfärgan efter stormen. Bilen på M4 skär genom Wales. Vägen mot Sandfärgan i hällregn efter storm. Hörde på nyheterna. Ung man död i jordskred i Carmarthenshire. Vid ankomst. Tänker på Skansen, Stockholm. Guiderna bekräftar mig när jag hör att jag är svensk. Ungarna leker bland historiska byggnader. Mamma, pappa och faster efter trotsar den regniga dagen. Swedenborgs lusthus, fullt av änglar. Några flög till Wales för att så ett frö där. On our way to Sandfärgan after the storm, the car on the M4 cuts his way through Wales to Santfagan, pouring rain after the storm. I heard of the news. Young man died in a landslide in Carmarthenshire. Upon arrival, thinking about Skansen, Stockholm. The guides confirmed my suspicions when they heard my Swedishness. Kids playing around the historical buildings, Mom, Dad, and Aunt Ethel, scorn the rainy days at Santfagan. Swedenborg's gazebo, full of angels. Some of them flew to Wales to plant a seed there. And I'm going further with a Wales theme, Poundland, Swansea. Andra våningen på Waterstones bokhandel. Fikat smakar gott. Sällskapet är trevligt. Marie Antoinette uppmanar oss på affischen Let them eat cake. Vi följer intresserat det folkliga livet utanför Poundland. Vår överblick är god. En ung kille lutar mot väggen. Här en lyftlig polyklitos spjutbärare. De flesta män bär träningsoverall som vore redo för olympiska insatser. Några är klädda för kontorsarbete, äter sandwich, unnar sig en cigg. Unga mödrar med barnvagnar stannar upp, pratar med släktingar och vänner. En snattare med snabba steg och 2 snutar efter sig kommer inte undan. En gatmusikant med synd spelar rock och evergreens. 2 fyllon sjunger med och önskar sig låtar. Det rör sig i en vinglig koreografi. Där är ömsomt tänder en rök, tar en klunk, morsar på någon och hänger med armarna om varandra för att förklara livets mening. Poundland, Swansea. Second floor of Waterstones bookstore. The coffee is good and the company too. Marie Antoinette encouraged us on the poster, let them eat cake. We follow with interest people passing by outside Poundland. Our view is good. A young man leaning against the wall, heel slightly lifted like Polyklitos' spear bearer. Most men wear joggers as if they're ready for Olympic actions. Some are dressed for office work, eating sandwiches, treating themselves with a ciggy. Young mothers with pushchairs, pausing, talking with family and friends. A fleet-footed shoplifter with 2 cops hot on the heels doesn't get away. A busker with synthesized plays rock and evergreens. 2 winos singing along and request songs. They move around in a wobbly choreography, alternately lighting a fag, taking a sip, grating someone with their arms wrapped around each other, explaining the meaning of life.
So that was Magnus Green, and now Philip is going to come up and read his poem in English that he was reading before.
Thank you again. All right, so this is the Cordwainer Sun. A naive little scamp is the Cordwainer Sun. He's the boy who'll trek to the moon. With his first pair of shoes, he stands steady and tall, though his legs seem unruly and wayward. Only 4 years old is the Cordwainer Sun and looking for something to govern his pace. His 4th pair of shoes, and they're walking about like children's shoes do, lacking handling. In search of direction, in search of the thing to tread on, to kick on, direction. His 8th pair of shoes are slender, unmuddied dress shoes for stone roads and footpaths, flattened by shoes never seen by the boy, and by feet that can no longer walk. Often he changes to pair number 9, to mud-covered boots for the forests. Still unruly and wayward, though close by the road, because feet are some tough things to settle. And pair number 18, they too are 2 boots, but boots made for wayfarers' travels. Mudless, though dusty, a fairly worn pair, and they walk in determinate stride. On broad streets with paving and gravelly roads, with quick breaks of grass by the roadside. Though quick breaks grow longer when roads become grayer, thus pair 26 are his sandals. Comfy and sightly in brass-buckled cross straps, they gleam and they glitter in sunlight. Sandals and dress shoes exchange in succession, but boots become sparser than ever. His feet are uncomfortably itchy and sore. All roads look alike to a chafing. Where have your boots gone, O Cordwainer son? Stowed away waiting for wandering? Where will your feet walk, O moon vagabond, in circles by daylight and moonlight? Souls that are restless with shame and with guilt, on the track shoes 30 and 7. Now once again looking for navigable roads while running on paths that are winding. Toes pointing to places he never has seen, in vain hopes of ladders and stairways. Because subsequent track shoes, they already know what boots of his rarely did gather, that roads tend to flatten or start to slope down after a fleeting ascension. And pair 43, they are track shoes again, though clammy with sweaty despairing, and juices from blisters that soaked up into a made-to-be-breathable fabric. When nightfall approaches, the Cordwainer sun exposes his foot, one track shoe in hand. He raises his gaze and sheds the one tear for Luna, the rising, the setting. He washes his feet in a creek from the shore, both naked and sore to the bone, waiting to leave for his strength to restore, to escape from the luminous stone. He, Cordwainer's son, turns Cordwainer too, and pair 46 are his own making, supporting another in a walk of their own, though comparably short undertaking. For work, he wears rough boots with caps made of steel. He dons them and toils from the waking, dreaming of mud and the roads to his heel when a short rest is there for the taking. One day he encounters his first pair of shoes that his father had kept reminiscing. On feet running wildly, on feet running loose, not an inch of the yard they were missing. While searching by laughter or occasional bruise to gather the light they were wishing. The Cordwainer's son, now he gathers them all, even ones, 12s and 5s for a pyre. From brass gleaming buckles or merely a soul to barely worn children's attire. To trodden in mud or being stuck in a hole, clay encased as the sun turned them drier. A tower of shoes, a soul monolith, a shrine to his feet and the wandering. He stands on this globe and the sight he beholds holding his torch as it flickers. Cresting the pile is the pearl he adores, a gleaming brass crown made of moonlight. The Cordwainer's son, a tired old man, he takes off his shoes, number 60. By his last pair of shoes he stands steady and tall, and there, feet bare, he starts his ascensions. Thank you.
Oh, so my phone is slightly down. It didn't come through.
My name's Colm Kiernan. Peace at last. I wish to be buried in a plain wooden box with a plain woolen cloth under a plain wooden cross by the wee murky river that flows as if below the sea, near that crock old house and the large devil's tree, down some old gravel lane with the big iron gates in the middle of the field, where the graves are old and all lie and wait. Cellar in Kadakai. Hands up and wave, music for a cellar of youth, a room filled with Kurdish music. A cellar in Istanbul, smoke filled with tobaccos and hormones, performances more than on stage, group videos to die for, another cig, singing along, posts to read, hands in the air, videos to make, music, stuff to text, clicks to read, time with poetry relaxed in the excitement and the constant speed, skates all round, lovers kissing, listening to good music, chargers fueling enthusiasm, excitement, lust, and desire, cables making meaning that mirror purpose and beautiful feeling, girls with tights or jabs and boots or low-cut tops, boys in Levi's shirts like cute-cut hair, tight jeans. This one's got us all gleeing. Beer bottles waving, shouts, claps, whistles, heavy chords singing with smiles, tears, voices, and body. It's all got meaning. A fella sits by the door twiddling a poem. A cat saunters towards the stage as we're all leaving. What can bestow and divvy the day? Can I ask you there, how does your day start? Maybe it starts with a fart. What do you do the minute you get up? You might even do it with a sup. What do you need to get in your prime? How do you feel sublime? I mean to ask, how do you measure time? How do you celebrate stuff? You might even do it in the buff. How do you appraise your happenings? Do you know how to feed your imaginings? Like gap the frequency, how do you honor your achievements? Or feel fully your grievance? Do you know how to get a flutter in the head? Or is it something you do just before bed? And how do you blow off steam? No, how do you reward cream? How do you immortalize, ritualize? Tell me how you memorialize. I want to know how you socialize. Can you tell me how you approach, deny, humiliate, condemn, debase, castigate? What do you do after you consecrate? And can it bestow and divvy the day? Hey, how do you get your mellow? Do you use tobacco? Next up will be Magnus.
Sprickor. Ur självsprickor och förhårdnader sipprar emissioner och sinnesrörelser till slut ut. Självsprickorna blötlades skrubbas rena. Det stenhårda solitära solot klingar av. Rytmsektionen höll bitet. En försoning av ömhet och acceptans började formera det inre jaget. Cracks. Out our cracked heels and calluses, feeling and emotions finally oozed out. The cracked soul soaked, scrubbed clean, the fierce, solitary solo faded out. The rhythm section kept the beat, reconciliation of affection and acceptance began forming the inner self. Vimpelsamlaren. Pojkrummets danska karta. Vävtapeternas textur. Gyllan som en nåldyna. Familjen betar av stad efter stad på den jylländska halvön. Esbjerg, Randers, Korsnings, Fredricia, Ribe. Dyböl skansar. Skandinavismen skjuten i sank. Sommarens citronband. The Streamer Collector. The Boys' Room's Danish map. The texture wallpaper. Jutland as a pincushion. The family covered town after town of Jylland Peninsula. Esbjerg, Randers, Horsens, Fredricia, Ribe. The dugouts of Dybel. Scandinavism scuttled the summer's lemon drink. Symbios. Paret var ju sådan symbios att minsta umgängesförsök såg som ett intrång till deras lycka. The couple was in a such symbiosis, but the slightest attempt to socialize was seen as an intrusion of their happiness. Siktlinje. Muskelminnes neuromuskulära system. Ungdomens bågskytte. Pilens siktlinje. Instängdhetens negativism. Dystopiska fiskars glänsande fjäll. Barockträdgårdens siktlinje. Bankvärldens dimmiga penningtvättare. De grå eminensernas ljusskygga maktfullkomlighet. Kulan skär en ballistisk siktlinje. Line of sight. The neuromuscular system of muscle memory. the archery of youth, the arrow's line of sight, the negatives of confinement, the shiny scales of dystopian fish, the baroque garden line of sight, the banking world's devious money launderers, the grey eminence shady authority prism. The bullet cuts a ballistic line of sight. Vinyl omslagsförnimmelse, a record store day 2020, Joy Division, Closer 1980. Näsan i konvolutet, kallt krig, angst. Hjärta och själ kolonisera unga sinnen. Byt musik, den gör mig nervös, säger min mor. Mörkt rum, stearinljus, känsla av anda. Ian Curtis död för egen hand. Vinyl cover sensation. Record Store Day 2020, the Joy Division, Loser 1980. Noose in the sleeve, Cold War, angst, heart and soul, colonizing young minds. Change the music, it makes me nervous, says my mom. Dark room, candlelights, sense of devotion, Ian Curtis, dead by his own hand.
I'll finish up my poems with some short ones. Myra. En sjösatt myra på barkbåtsdäck bland stilla vågor i en bäck. Med ett känselspröt mot asplövseglet trotsar den krisen där andra är blöt känner stormen och brisen. Den tar sikte mot doften av sand. Men båten styr bort ifrån land. Ant. An ant embarked on a barkboat deck on still creek waves, just a little speck, defying the waves with one tactile rod on the aspen sail. The other adjusts wet for current and gale. It aims for the faint smell of sand, yet the boat drifts further from land. And my last contribution tonight is Stonewall, and it's going to be just in English. I know I should have called you earlier, that you've been waiting for the ringtone and my name, like an outstretched hand across the display. We need vacuum cleaner bags and cat food. Could you pick that up before you get here? Thank you.
My turn again. So, occupy. Without any belief and lacking in faith, devoid of person idols, not wanting ideology, obeying no dogma, or having trinkets for security, possessing you in my gut, protecting me, occupying my heart cosmically, my mind accepting its new reality, loving you becomes easy. Vroll. But if you're going for a walk, why do it alone? Why not share it with a cow? If you do it right, you might get a friendly face licking. What more could you want? Go up to a cow, grab her by her ears and let rip into her face. With the most bitching banshee guttural roll, your bloodying lungs can push through your strained throat with eyes popping to tears, to tippy toes as your muscles tense up and hair falls across your face. Release. Cow screaming can relieve stress, add excitement to a boring country walk, bring relief to muscular tensions, stimulate blood circulation, cure loneliness and athlete's foot, gallstones, obnoxious tendencies, baldness, menstrual bleedings and tensions. Training before cow screaming can help to avoid unexpected stampeding, cow kicking and headbutting, heart attacks, blood clots or strokes. Talk to your doctor first. Note there is research suggesting evidence that the recipient might not appreciate cow screaming as much as you, but this has not been confirmed. Free. I didn't die at Easter. I died in April, rejecting the spring, hearing thoughts through sentences in contradiction, that between and in clarity, no one thing of deep meaning, when all is painted into one picture without memory, is truly to be free. A room with a view, a billion shades of grey push and hassle the sky, and a blue pine mountain lies across my way. A long bundle of oaks gone higher and high, while a storm of hurling leaves makes everything seem to decay. Can you imagine some drizzly old smoke come twisting right up and up within, the scene of a picture of old French folk, and all serene? And now Magnus is going to come up and read a few more poems.
Jeanne d'Arc bor i Malmö. Jeanne d'Arc bor i Malmö på pastorsexpeditionen, säger en skäggig man med vilda blå ögon. Hon färdas genom tid och rymd, har tröttnat på 1400-talet, handlar på Ica Maxi, köper blommor på Gustav Adolfs torg. Hon vill inte längre vara ett franskt nationalhelgon. Vi spelar på Mike's bar. Vi spelar biljard och slänger bort sitt jungfrudom till första bästa. Joan of Arc lives in Malmö. Joan of Arc lives in Malmö at the vicarage, says a bearded man with wild blue eyes. She travels through time and space, got tired of the 15th century, shops at Ica Maxi, buys flowers at the Gustav Adolf Square. She doesn't want to be a French patron saint anymore, wants to hang out at Mike's bar, play pool, and give away her virginity to the first taker. Pastoral Mondrian-graffiti på en lantlig elstation. Urban pastoral graffiti. Mondrian topografisk elstation. Krösatåget skramlar. Något abstrakt med stil syns vid horisonten. Pastoral Mondrian graffiti on a rural power station. Urban pastoral graffiti. Mondrian topographic power station. The Krösa train rattles. Something abstract with style seen at the horizon. Söndag morgon. Sväljer den existentiella förkylningen. Inser ett ögonblick, livet är ett fiasko. Juni månad i naturen blir inte vackrare i norra Småland. Sunday morning. Swallow the existential cold. Realize for a moment life is a failure. Month of June and nature doesn't get more beautiful in northern Småland. End up with this poem in Swedish and English. Come here. Norrabyudden, psykogeografiska vandringar 1. Hit har min vandring tagit mig, Skoboviken, zonen. Längst ute på Norrabyudden sväller stadens gräddhylla upp sig. Någon på krogen sa att en före detta medlem i Försöka duger nu är en framgångsrik konspirationsteoretiker i staterna. Deras låt, Skobobo, Skobobo, kommer över mig. Jag nynnar den för mig själv. Självmedvetna, unga, nyrika eller av banklån tyngda familjer befolkar Karl Johans väg och angränsande gator. Det kräver status och utrymme. Stukad av 90-talskrisens arbetslöshet och ALU-jobb fanns det inte på kartan att någon av oss ens skulle drömma om ett hus. Jag spanar ut från udden. Historien gör sig påmind. Reminiscenser av hostningar och blodiga näsdukar låser in från Romanäs. Norrabynäs, Psychogeographical Walks 1. This is where my walk has taken me, Skobo Bay, Suomen. At the far end of Norrabynäs, the town's crème de la crème swells up. Someone at the pub told me a former member of Försöka duger knows a successful conspiracy theaters in the States. their song, Scuba Boo, comes over me. I hum it for myself. Self-conscious, newly rich, young, over bank loans, burden families populate Karl Johans Road and neighbor streets. They require status and space. So doubled by a 90s crisis of unemployment and temp jobs, it wasn't on the map that any one of us would even dream of a house. I look out from the nest. History springs to mind, reminiscences of coughing and bloody tissues blowing in from Romanes. Thank you. Tack för mig.
So, and I shall be the last reader, and here's my poems. This one is from Carmarthen. Well, actually, Ferryside. Aftermath. The river flows higher than the road, beside the way to the square, bellowing through the hedgerows, a cow. The deep gurgle and babble of water, through the drains, in one and out another. An owl fella, stick in hand, marches in protest, in flowing water, along roads, through car parks, cars in rivers, slipping on mucky footpaths like at home on the ice, using a stream crossing the road to wash my shoes. A woman apologizes for the mess. Bubble up water flows from the manhole through the railway crossing as I head down to read a sign. The ferry's running, and the wasp annoys me. The storm is over, there is no smell. Wading through small rocks, porous stones and debris, some raised to the grass banks above. Waves crashing on the breaks to children's cheers. Here with such high tide, the water heavy with silt, slow and brutal on its march against the shore. It would bury you with its flow. No walk on the beach, I'll go the road. The trees combed northeast by years of wind. I can still hear the thunderous rhythm of the sea. Solar panels taking the day off. Another diesel train spins by as I make it down the village road where I shall stay. Before me. Something before me reminds me of the things I did with the people I met in the places I was, and what's not said or done now, least in me, to make me sad. Veils of the morning, writing reams of poetry in her head on a Sunday morning, lying in his bed. It rains against the window, a perfect lazy day. She lies naked beside him, the most beautiful thing she had ever seen, with such color, structure, and form. Makes a second skin around him as he doesn't touch her. He picks up his phone to read. She turns to the wall to cry. Naked beside him, not a bit of him to hold. Everywhere she treads on glass, and every time he bleeds. She can read him like a book, but could not interpret him. Binded by illusion, she makes romantic gesture, gifts burned in suggestion. His need to hate himself more passionate than her love. She lies here spent beside him, with no more Yeats to give. A friend suggests therapy. And now I can stress over mono decisions. It's obvious as you experience it, how ridiculous to be in your mind's grip, not able to figure out any way around it, considering more strenuous than doing, afraid but not knowing what one is afraid of, exhausting and consuming. A friend suggests therapy, which I totally reject. Report from a bed. Intricately, ornately, walls and ceilings painted in quaint mural, turquoise, blood red, sky blue with brown on cream. Drapes and furniture delicately decorated in gold. Heavy curtains holding back January cold seeping through French windows. People have apartments smaller than this room, with its mahogany floors, doors, and Chester drawers. I can hear a nearby rummager go through the street garbage bags left out by the tired restaurateurs for collection. Plastic, aluminium, and cartons mined, as busy cats talk to each other and passers-by about the day that's gone. The preacher dog barks out his message to all who will listen. Now, woken early, the glad night porter receives visitors and talks on the phone. The doors offer too much information, invites to so much conversation. Outside, women of earnest start loud interjections or maybe argumentation. Diligent street truckers take their turn at the rubbish after the scavengers, cat, dog, and man have in order halved all bags' weight. Perfectionist street cleaners polish for the next round of life's happenings. There's the call to prayer as a wanton metal merchant in his own melody calls for wares. Eager Effes and Beaumonti beer delivery men move on the narrow street, iron barrels on trolleys rattling tenor empty up and booming brass full down to delivery. Their enthusiastic staff before shop openings playing music, melodic techno. Coffee quaffs through the window as glad school students head their way. Power workers Kango hammer walls that vibe like a Shih Tzu massage chair. Earnest staff plunk up the old wooden stairs. You're never alone in Istanbul. The phone plings a message and it's time to get up. Good morning. Have I died enough? Have I died enough? Enough times? Have I died well enough? Deep enough? Hard enough? With enough feeling? Enough passion, desire, fury, distress, frenzy? With enough storm, wrath, suffering, drama, intensity? What's enough? How many times is enough? How long does it take to do a good death? And when dead, hey, what then? Rather disturbing. Distant, detached, desolate, stiff, rigid, and cold, with the world's best bitch face. I mean, you're there rotting on the inside, and on the outside, everything has stopped. You're not exactly communicative, are you? It's not like you can talk or move around or anything. It's not like you can tell the person beside you what you want, need, or how you feel. Now, can you? You're dead, gone, done, finished. You sort of have stopped with everything, whether you want things to be this way or not. You are frozen mid-riff. You have a fractured, tattered, shredded future. You can no longer change things, change yourself or your world. Fix the hole that's being dug. You're dead, and now what? Have I died enough? Narrative. Gibberish, weaponized nonsensitive. Obnoxification of society. Ratification of cagedness. Realization of stupidity. Recognition of affirmation bias. Nausea at repugnance. Aversion to its abhorrence. Revulsion at the antagonism and a monastic reluctance to truth. And traveling abroad we find exciting, and it can be life-changing enjoying that freedom. And traveling abroad we find exciting, and it can be life-changing enjoying that freedom. Speaking fluent moron, crisp without even a sludder, then leaning into the suck, as there is a virtue in broadcasting your amorality at the highest known volume of stupidity, decorum trumped constantly by derision, Bannon-esque division. And my friends are with me, and it's going to be a good day. My friends are with me, and it's going to be a good day. Fetishist Twitter fingers, truth-busting reality of lies. I believe truth isn't truth, but when I can, I tell the truth. He means it. Making hate again, with that which burns witches, making fake again by self-proclamation testifications, down the slinker hole, otherwise untethered to truth. And we shall have fun, the future is bright. And we shall have fun, and the future is bright. So that was us in Sweden. It was an honor to get to perform for you guys. I hope you're enjoying the beautiful weather as much as we are. It's a little bit too fucking warm as far as I'm concerned, but anyway, summertime. But I'm sure you're all enjoying the sun there, and we can hear Steve coming through the speakers here laughing his head off. So I don't know, maybe other people laugh too. It was really a great pleasure to be part of the festival, and we look forward to maybe seeing you guys again. Magnus and myself hopefully will be in Wales in October for another festival physically. And so from us in Sweden, hej då.
Hello, Sweden. Goodbye, Sweden. At risk of sounding like Eurovision Song Contest. Goodbye, Sweden. It was great hearing from you. And Colum's last poem, Speaking Fluent Moron, was about Donald Trump. And there is going to be some more Donald Trump coming soon. So now, well, not now, but in 15 minutes for something completely different, I will be introducing you to Steve the Shredder. So see you at 4 o'clock, guys. Have you ended it? No? Yeah, okay.
See that picture there? That went off before. So that went off.